today we're going to be working on some earrings. Yes, everybody keeps asking me, Debbie, show me how to make earrings. So today's tutorial is all about making earrings. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways, and I'm going to show you, more importantly, how you can design your own earrings. Okay, I'm going to give you lots of tips for making them look professional and something that everybody would love to either receive as a gift or that you could even sell or just wear yourself. Some basic things that you need to have depending upon which earrings you want to make. So I'm going to show you what I always have on hand. Of course, you're going to need your earring findings, and that's going to include a fishhook earring and the little jump rings. Okay, and you'll see these in the craft stores over in the jewelry section. I'll link some up in the description of the video so you know. You're also going to need a pair of like needle nose pliers so that you can work with those findings. So I like to have two pairs because I tend to use both of them at the same time, and I'll show you how we attach those to the earrings. Also, as you're cutting out your earrings with your Cricut, sometimes the little hole, you need a little help to push the little piece where the earring hole is. So I use my paper piercer. I like to make my hole using my Cricut. But if for some reason you forgot to make your hole or whatever, you can always use an 1/8 inch hole punch and punch your little hole for your earring. I also recommend that you use a brayer. It's going to help you make sure that your leather is attached to your mat so that it's not going to pop up on you. And I also use a little bit of masking tape of some kind. So this is a purple crafter's tape, which is perfect because it's sticky enough that it's going to hold it down, but not so sticky I'm not going to be able to remove it. Or you can use like a painter's tape. So those are other things I'll have on hand. And because faux leather is thin, I like to double side my earrings so that they hang nicely and they look more finished. So I use this Febrings leather craft cement. I have tried all kinds of other craft glues. Nothing seems to hold them together as well as using a real leather craft glue. So I'll link this up as well, and you can also find this like in the craft stores over like where they sell leather. You'll often find this. And I'm going to be using a paper plate and a brush to put it on the back of my earrings when I go to put them together. I like to have a all-purpose craft mat out when I'm using the glue, plus some wet wipes and a paper towel is always handy. And then we're going to talk about the leather. There is the metallic leather. There is the genuine leather. You will need the black deep cut blade housing to cut the leather. You'll use this whether you have the Cricut Explore machines or you have the Cricut Maker. Then you will need a strong grip mat. So when you're cutting leather, you're going to use the black deep cut blade housing, a strong grip mat, and the leather. If you are cutting the faux leather, whether you're cutting it from pattern faux leather you picked up somewhere or the Cricut faux leather, it's thin. So you're going to use the standard grip mat. You will put on both of these, you're going to put your material face down on your mat when you go to cut it, so you will be mirroring your image. And so those are all the supplies that you need when you're going to be making earrings. So I want to talk to you about the different types of leather that you see people making their earrings out of. So you have regular genuine leather, you have the metallic leather from Cricut, and you have faux leather. So faux leather, and it even comes in prints and different solid colors. I'll talk about this in a minute. Genuine leather is an actual hide. You're going to notice that it is black on the front. This has been dyed, okay, and it's black on the back. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say fuzzy, but you can tell it is definitely a leather, okay? And it's got a lot of give to it. It's very pliable, and with the Cricut machine, it cuts out beautifully using the deep cut blade housing. Now, the metallic leather is similar to a genuine leather, but it's a little bit thicker, and it has a coat applied over the top of it, which gives it that metallic shine. So this is more of a flat leather, and then you have the metallic shine on the metallic leather. This one is a little bit thicker. When you look at them, because these are natural materials, they are in different thicknesses, right? Depends upon how that they were cut and prepared. So as you can see, the genuine leather's a little bit thinner, and the metallic leather is a little bit thicker, all right? So it makes a big difference when you go to pick your setting in Design Space, which one you choose, because your leather needs a different pressure to be able to cut. You're going to cut both of these with the black deep cut blade housing, whether you're using a Cricut Maker or the Cricut Explore machines. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is the faux leather. Faux leather, of course, is a man-made product. It is textured. Okay, for one thing, it's textured. You guys can see the texture on here. Cricut has it in a bunch of different colors. You can buy it other places as well. And they also sell in different shops. I bought this at Hobby Lobby, and it's a faux leather wide ribbon, and they have a bunch of different patterns. And you can order it online in different patterns too. But the thing about the faux leather is that it is very thin, okay? And the backs of it are not very finished. Okay, they're kind of fuzzy. They look like felt on the back of them, and they're very lightweight. So when you go to make earrings with this, you really need to make these double-sided, because if you don't, what's going to happen is that it's going to kind of flop around on you because it doesn't have enough weight to hold itself down after you put it on your earring. So I'm going to show you how I do that. When you're working with the faux leather, I recommend you use the Cricut standard grip mat for this. And you will, again, place your material face down on your mat. Okay, so the pretty side of your faux leather is going to go against your mat, and that's going to give you these beautiful cuts. All right, but you'll be using the regular fine tip blade that comes with your Cricut machine. So whether you're using the Cricut Maker or the Cricut Explore machines, you'll just use your regular blade housing that comes with your machine when you cut the faux leather. One of my goals today was to be able to show you how you can create your own earrings using shapes in Design Space. That's how I usually make mine. Now you can go buy or purchase a file from different places on Etsy or in different vendors that they've already done all the design work for you. That's fine. But let me show you how to do it yourself. It'll be a lot more fun and a lot more customized. First thing is this pair here that looks pink. This pair is actually a pair of earrings already in Design Space. So all I did was do a search for earrings and this pair popped up, and it's a free image shape. So they're super cute. I ended up cutting these out of the rose gold metallic leather from Cricut, and I'll show you those. And they've already got the hole in them, and they were pretty much ready to go. All I had to do was cut them out and add the earring hooks. Easy enough. Next image over, this one. This was an individual tag. So when I look this up, it is just a tag called a tier tag. It was in Design Space. I just did a search for tags. That's where I started looking for earring shapes that I could play with and maybe make my own. That's where this one came from. It's a very elegant, elongated shape. It looks great as an earring. So then I just doubled it up. I made another one, I duplicated it. Okay, so now I have this. Now I'm going to cut this out of Cricut faux leather. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the faux leather is much thinner, so I want to be able to back this one. And how do I do that? So super easy. I've got my pair, so I had one shape, had the hole in it. I duplicated that shape. Then I just group those two together because that's one pair of earrings. And then I duplicate it again. Okay, so now I've got two. I'm going to change the color of this one just so you can see what's going on here. I'll make them purple. Okay, so now I've got my duplicate, but I'm going to be putting these on the back side of my earrings. So I want to make sure that when I line them up back to back that they're going to fit. So the best way to do that is go up here to where it says flip in your top menu, and I'm just going to say flip horizontally. Okay, now just in case the shape's not exactly the same, when I cut these out, they will be perfect when I go to cut them and they'll line up. Now the next shape that's super popular in earrings right now is called the teardrop shape. And this is actually a teardrop tag that was in Design Space. So I just grabbed the shape, and what I did was I went into hide contour and I took the little, there was a little hole in this, but it was kind of big. So I removed the hole, so then I only had the basic shape. I can do lots with this. Let me show you. So here's the tag shape. I could certainly just put a hole in it and call it done. I'm going to duplicate that and show you how I add the holes to my earrings. So here's the earring. This one's at 3 inches. When you go to start looking, deciding how big you want your earrings to be, you need to determine if you want big earrings or smaller earrings, who's going to be wearing them. I kind of show you guys some of that here in a minute when I show you the finished product. Let's just say I have this shape in here right now. I like to just take a circle in Design Space and size it to 0.15. I have found that to be the absolute perfect size for when I am going to be slicing holes in for my earrings. I much prefer to do that than use the hole punch on most of my earrings, so I make my own hole. So here's my little circle, and I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to put it where I want my hole to be on my earring. You want to have enough of an edge around the hole so that you're not going to be cutting along the edge of it. You want to cut it within. So you can just kind of move it till you get it, but you want it up close to the top, right? And then once you have it, I'm just going to highlight that, highlight the shape, and then down in my layers panel over here, the slice feature now becomes available. So I'm just going to slice it, and then I can remove the pieces. I'll just move these over here to the side. Okay, so you'll have the piece that you sliced out of that shape. Okay, so now I could just have a teardrop shaped earring and cut it out of anything, but I need 2 of them, right? And I want them to be exactly the same. That's the other question everybody asks, is how do you get the holes in the same spot? Well, I only create 1 earring and then I just duplicate it. Ta-da! Okay, so now I've got a pair of teardrop earrings that I could cut out of faux leather or whatever I want to cut out. Once I have this shape, then I can take that same shape and I made a smaller shape. Okay, I took the same shape, I duplicated it, I changed the color of it so you guys could see it. So I want to slice this one and create a completely different shape that we're going to use for something else. So I made a smaller teardrop shape, and then I have the larger one in the background. So what I want to do is highlight both of these, and now on my layers panel up here it says align. Okay, so I'm going to come up here where it says center horizontally, and it's going to center it for me. You can also do center vertically. Okay, and now it is perfect within that shape. Okay, so I am then going to take those 2 pieces, highlight them, and now in my layers panel I'm going to slice it. Okay, so now in my layers panel I have this piece, I have the sliced out piece, and now I have a frame. Okay, so that frame can become a couple of different things. So I'm just going to duplicate this so we have it here in a minute for me to show you. And now I have the frame. All right, so you could certainly cut this out of a different material and lay it on top of this one. You'd have to put the hole in it, of course, but now we've got our frame. What else can you do with a frame? Guess what? You can take a shape, whatever shape you want. I wanted to create some snowflake earrings just like this. Okay, so I took that frame that I just cut and I found a snowflake that I liked in Design Space, and this could be any image. You want something that's a pretty simple image, and then I'm going to put it over my frame area, making sure that I've got points that match up. I can make it maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, making sure that the points are touching the edges of the frame. Okay, about like that. And then I'm going to highlight both of these. And now in my layers panel, I'm going to hit weld. And ta-da, I now have a completely different shape that I can cut out of leather or faux leather. Okay, and I would go up here and I would slice the hole in it so that then I can make it into earrings. I would make 2 pairs of them. Okay, so that's easy enough. So think about all the different things you could do by just welding a different image inside of the hole this frame that you made. Now once you've got the frame made, and I'll just move all these pieces over here out of the way. Once you've got the frame made, then you can create a completely different layered earring effect. So this one, I'm going to ungroup it so you can see what I've done here. Oh, I need to ungroup each one. Okay, so this one is going to be this is the teardrop shape with the hole. So that's going to be in black leather. Then this piece is going to be in the faux leather, the leopard faux leather that I picked up. Okay. And then this faux leather has like a white lining to it, a white background on it, and I don't want to see that on my earring. So that's when I created the frame. I'm going to cut out of the black leather, and it's going to go on top of that. So when I put the earring together, it's going to look completely finished on the front and the back and the sides. That's how I did that one. How much fun you can have just kind of mixing and matching and taking the same shape but doing different things with it. Now this set down here, these were just 2 rectangles I created in Design Space, and then I used the holes and I made my own little earring slices, and of course I duplicated it so I had a pair of earrings. And then I took a triangle, just the basic shape, and I sized it to put on my earring. This I'm going to cut out of gold iron-on foil and give this beautiful metallic gorgeous look to it. Geometric earrings are all the rage, so these are going to be perfect. And I'm going to show you something else I'm going to do with a different material. So these are just some ideas of how you can find shapes in Design Space, make them your own earrings, and it's really fun. I encourage you to do that. If you make any earrings, please take a picture of them, post them in the Let's Learn Cricut Design Space Facebook group, and tag me on your post so I can come and see what you made. I'm so excited to see that. All right, so let me show you what these actually look like made up. Okay, so let's take a look at the earrings now that they're finished. I showed you how I designed them. Now let's look at the finished product. So these are the 2 that were already in Design Space. They were earrings when we did the search. I cut them out of the Cricut rose gold metallic leather, and of course they're not finished on the back because it's real leather, but they have a nice weight to them. They'll be really pretty. Rose gold is so popular right now. Other pair was the one that was the tag that I took and made into a pair of earrings, and then I showed you how I double-sided them so that they're finished on the back. Okay, and I'll show you how I glued these together. And this pair is the one where we took that basic teardrop shape and we welded the snowflake onto it, and then I actually have added some textured vinyl to the front just where the snowflake is, so it makes them really fun. Now we need to talk about sizing. Most dangle earrings are approximately 2 inches in length. So from top to bottom they're about 2 inches, plus whatever, when you have your hook they're a little bit longer than that. You can size them depending upon what the shape is, what the occasion is, who you think is going to be wearing the earrings. Some people like big earrings, some people like little earrings, so you can kind of play around with it. But I go anywhere from 2 inches to about 2 1/4 inches. These are 3 inches. Okay, these are big. These are like, because it's holiday time and flashy and fun, I made these very large. Okay, so you can kind of get a feel for why you would need to size them appropriately for whatever you're going to be doing. Now these are the ones that I did the teardrop shape. These are out of the real leather. And so the back, they're very finished. They look really nice on the back. They look really nice. So this is a piece of the black leather is the back, then this is the piece of the faux leather glued on top of that back, and then this was the frame that I glued on top of that. I had the hole here, and on these I did not add a jump ring. I just put the fish hook for the earring piece into that hole. Okay, so these are not dangly, whereas these I added the jump ring and then put the hook on them. So see, these are much more dangly. These are a little more going to stay, you know, in that orientation. So it's really kind of what your preference is, whether you add the jump rings or not, and I do show you how to add that. This is faux leather, the black faux leather, and then I used the Cricut foil iron-on and created just a couple of triangles here and ironed them on. Yep, that's all that is. Look how pretty that is. They're gorgeous. And then on the back, ta-da, on the back of them, they are gold metallic mosaic iron-on, and so they're really fun. So it's kind of like beautiful on the front and party on the back, so that when you're wearing them, you're going to get this really pretty shine. So think about how you can mix up your different materials. And then also, these are just circles that were in Design Space. I didn't show you these. These are some I've made in the past. These are just circles out of basic shapes. I attached a smaller circle to the top of them. I welded those together, and then I sliced the hole out of that little piece on the top. And then that way I could make them more dangly as a circle. They were a little harder to just punch a hole in them. They weren't going to be very dangly. So this gave me that kind of dangle look to them by doing that. And then again, I took that same circle, but I sliced it in half and created a piece of foil that then I could iron on. And then I have, these are backed on the back. Okay, so they're completely finished. I will tell you, every time I wear these, somebody asks me where I bought them and how much were they, because they love these. So they're simple, but they're effective. You can also take I took that same shape that I made for that one, and I just cut one large one and one smaller one, two different faux leather colors, and then I just added a little rhinestone to them to add a little bit of something special to them. You can also, there's colored faux leather. This is just kind of a rust color in the blue. These are just basic shapes in Design Space that then I took once again and just made my own earrings out of them, and I backed the back of them. So they're very finished. They look really nice. They're a nice weight. And of course, you can take any kind of shape in Design Space and make them into an earring. So there's these footballs are in Design Space, and I wanted some to wear for my Texans football games I go to. And so the faux leather really gives it the look of like an actual football. And then this is just iron-on that I applied to the top. I could use adhesive vinyl, would also work. And I backed the back of them so that they are finished. This one is a leaf shape. Okay, so this was a leaf shape. And then I cut one background one. This one's in silver. I cut another one out of, I think it's out of the campaign one. But then this leaf, I put the gold foil over the entire image and then cut it out. And then when I went to put these together, the holes punched at the top and the side. Okay, I punched the hole after I put these together, and then I put some glue on them, and I used a clip, and then I clipped it to hold them together until it dried. Once it was completely dry, I waited like 24 hours. Then I went back with my little hole punch and I punched the hole to be able to create these. So you can get really super creative, lots of fun things you can do. What I want to show you now is how would we go about cutting these out, and show you the different techniques that I used on a few of these so that then you can then learn to create your own. I want to show you how do you prep your mat to work with the leather. I'm going to be using the Cricut metallic leather. This is the rose gold. It's such a beautiful color, and you will need a strong grip purple mat when you're working with the leather. It's pretty thick. Okay, if you can see that, it's pretty thick, it's pretty heavy. So you need something that's really going to hold on. So the strong grip mat is what you would use this for. That strong grip mat is used for very specific materials because it is so sticky. So you want to flip your leather over so that the pretty side is going to be facing your mat. And then you really want to push it down. Now what I like to do is I use my brayer and really make sure that it's on there really well. I'm applying quite a bit of pressure. That way I know it's smooth. I know that it's stuck down as good as it can get. And then the other thing that I do is I like to also add a little bit of tape. This is Purple's Crafter's tape, which is awesome because it's sticky enough that it's going to hold it on, but it's not so sticky that it's going to tear the project when I take it off. So I use this a lot. I'll link it up for you guys in case y'all want to get some. It's made specifically for crafting so that you can use it. I use it a lot, like if I need to keep something in place, like paper or anything like that, then I feel like I need a little extra help getting it to stay in place. But all I'm doing is I have just added a little bit of it in the corners. Okay, that's just going to help hold this just to make sure that I don't have any slippage when I go to cut this, because you know leather's expensive. I don't want to waste any. Then the next thing you're going to need is you will have your fine tip blade will be in your machine. You need to take that out and you will be using the deep point blade. Okay, so that is the one that has the black housing. It's whether you're using the Cricut Explore or the Cricut Maker, you will switch to the black deep cut blade housing. And this blade is a special blade. It has a longer tip on the end of it. Okay, it has a longer tip and it's at a different angle. So you can't just switch out a regular Cricut blade into this housing. You have to have the housing and the deep cut blade. Okay, so those are sold together, and then you can buy replacement blades that are the deep cut blade replacements. And once you've got it on your mat, then you're going to put it in your machine. You'll put this into your B side of your Cricut machine, whether it's the Cricut Maker or the Cricut Explorers. As I mentioned, it's really important that you pick the right material for what you're making so that it will cut correctly for you when you're making your earrings. So come over here to browse. When you get to material setting, when you go to cut, go to browse, and we're going to come up here to categories and we're going to pick leather. Okay, then in the leather category, if you're using faux leather, whether it's Cricut faux leather or typically any other faux leather that's paper thin, like I showed you, you would pick this setting. If you are using the genuine leather setting, you would pick the genuine leather. That's the one that was the black leather that I showed you. It looks the most natural, and of course it could be red or black or brown or whatever color, but you would pick genuine leather if that's what it's marked as. Then there is the metallic leather, and that's the one that's a little bit thicker, that has like a special coating on the top of it to give it that metallic shine and color. So then you would pick metallic color. So those are the settings that you will be using most when you're making earrings with either the faux leather or the leather earrings. The other types of leather on here have other purposes, and we'll cover those in a different video when I get to those. But for the purpose of making earrings, that's how you would find your settings. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to have a completely finished looking earring. So if you just cut out a single layer of an earring, on the back side, it's not going to be very pretty. And you know, as we are wearing our earrings, they tend to flip around and turn around, and also the weight of them is different. So if you went ahead and put a hook on this, it's okay, but it's not got a lot of weight to it, so it's going to be kind of floppy on your ear and tend to twist more that way. What I prefer to do is to make it double-sided, and how I do that is what I showed you in Design Space. I take the same earring and then I just flip it and mirror the back basically, so that then I have two pieces that match up. Now for this particular one, I decided it would be fun, and I could have made them both sides silver, but I thought it would be fun if I made one side gold. So here we've got the four pieces, so the front and a back. All right, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this leather craft cement. Okay, this is made specifically for working with leather, whether it's faux leather or genuine leather. This is going to get it to stick. I have tried a whole bunch of different glues trying to find the one that really holds the earrings together, and this is the one. This is the winner. You can get this online. I'll link it up in the description of the video, and they also sell it like where they sell leather at the craft stores. You can look for this. Okay, so it's Phoebing's leather craft cement is what they call it, and you want a little plate or some little paper plate, some glue. I like to apply it using a brush because I think that gets it on there better. So I'm going to dab it on. Then I'm just going to flip these over, and I'm just going to apply a generous amount of the glue to the backs. You want to make sure you have some paper towels and a wet wipe handy when you get to this point, because we'll want to clean that up. But like you can see, I'm putting a pretty good amount on there. Okay, and then I'm going to lay the back directly on top of it, lining up the edges. Making sure my holes are lined up. Okay, and then once I do that, then I like to take the wet wipe and clean the excess glue off of it. And now I have it so that it is a nice weight because it's got 2 layers of the faux leather, plus it's finished. Okay, so no matter which side you look at it, it looks nice. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side here real quick. And then I like to let these dry for a few minutes before I go to put the earring backs on them. Okay, and then I'll let those set off to the side and dry. Usually I'll cut all my earring pieces out first, and then I'll have them all ready for me to make the two-sided part of it and glue everything at once and then let them dry. Once they're dry, they'll become a little stiffer, which makes it nice. Okay, so they're going to hang really well. This is a pair I had already made. Okay, now what I've done here is for this particular shape, I already have the hole in it, but I wanted to use what they call a jump ring. So jump rings are those little circles, and you would have your needle nose pliers out, your jewelry pliers, and you have 2 fish hook earrings is what they call these. So I'm going to have a jump ring, and that's the jump ring, and a fish hook earring. Now these come in all different colors, so you know there's silver and gold and rose gold, and I think they even have them in black now. But you could just get this at the craft store, or you can buy them online. And what you need to do is that jump ring, if you haven't used these before, you're going to take your needle nose pliers. The jump ring has a little split in it. Okay, and where that little split is on the jump ring is where we're going to pry this apart to put our earring in. So when you see where the hole is, you're going to grab it with your pliers, and I like to have 2 pair, and then all you're going to do is you're going to twist. You're not going to pull this apart like this motion. You're going to twist like this, and that is the secret to working with the jump rings. So you're going to open it up, and then you can see here, hopefully you can see right here where it split it open, and then that's where I can put it in the hole of my earring. Okay, once I get it in, then I'm going to take this. Oh, I need to put my earring. So then I put my fish hook earring on, and there's a little hook right here on it that you just put that in there, and then you take the jump hook and you just close it up with that same motion, but now you're going the opposite direction. So what that's doing is it's closing it up. You just are moving it back into place. If for some reason it looks like you need to just give it a little tap to close the gap just a little bit more, but that's it to putting the earring finding on your earring. So that's one way to do it. Now sometimes I like to have it because I like the extra dangle with having the jump ring on it. Other times you can take the fish hook earring and you can open up just this little piece of it and not put the jump ring on it. I would just pull this open, and I was able to slide it into the top of this earring hole, and then I just closed it up. So this one doesn't have a jump hook on it, a jump ring on it, and this one does. So this one's kind of dangly. See how much dangle it has to it? And this one is going to leave this more stationary, which is what I wanted for this one. Other thing I wanted to tell you was don't be afraid to mix the two up. So I've got the black genuine leather here, and then I also am using some of that faux leather in a leopard print. It's really pretty. And what I've done here is to give a finished look to the earring. There, that's going to be the earring. And this is the back, so it's finished. And then it's also finished around the edges because on this faux leather, it's white, okay? It's not colored through because it's just printed on here because it's faux, right? So it's just printed on this texture. So I wanted to make sure that when I made some nice pretty earrings using the regular leather, that I did something that would help kind of cover the edges. So I started with this shape. You guys saw me make this in Design Space. So I start with the background shape because this is already finished on the back. Then I have a piece that I cut. It's going to go here, and then I have an outer ring that's going to go here. Now all of these are going to line up, and the way you adhere this together is using this leather craft cement. I just use a little paintbrush, a little dab of this. It doesn't take very much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the faux leather over, and I'm going to pretty much saturate the back of this, okay? I'm going to cover the whole thing with that leather glue. And make sure you get the tip on something like this, right? You want to make sure you got the tip down. Okay, so once I do that, then I'm just going to apply it to the front of my leather piece. You do want to have some wet wipes out because you will want to clean up the glue as you go along. Okay, so I'm going to wipe it from around the edges, and I'm just going to let that sit for a minute or two. In the meantime, I'm going to take the outer ring that I made, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to apply glue to the back of this. So once I get the glue on that, then I'm going to lay this over this piece, lining it up with the edges, and I've cut this so that it will be a perfect fit all the way around and will cover up the edge. And I'm just going to take the wet wipe and gently press down around the edges and cleaning up any glue that might seep through, okay, like this. So now you're going to have this beautiful finished earring, and we'll put the hook on them in a minute. Now they look really nice. They're high quality looking now. And it only took a couple of seconds, and I love mixing the good quality leather with the faux leather. It just gives it a whole different dimension. Another idea I have for you for your earrings is use some Cricut foil iron-on your faux leather, and it just takes it to a whole new level. It makes it really beautiful, and it's easy to do. Of course, it's iron-on, so you're going to put it liner side down on your mat when you cut it out. So what I've done is I've got two triangles here, and I'm going to lay them on. These are just the black faux leather that I cut. And I'm going to lay them on. Geometrics are so popular right now. Okay, so I've got my Cricut Easy Press Mini here, which is great for a little project like this. When you look up in the heat guide, it tells you to put foil iron on the base material of faux leather that you need it on the low setting, okay? And so there's 3 dashes here. The bottom one is the low setting. Then there's the second setting is medium, and the top setting is high. So I've got it on low. It's green. You may not be able to see that on camera. And so it's ready to go. So once I get it on there, I'm just going to place it on. I'm not going to apply a whole lot of pressure. I just want to warm up the foil onto my earring. It only takes a couple of seconds, about 30 seconds it said. And then you can move your Easy Press Mini around, but I'm not applying hardly any pressure. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So this needs to cool off completely. It's cooled off, so I'm just going to peel this off. Look how beautiful that looks. It is absolutely gorgeous. I also use the Cricut Mosaic iron-on, metallic iron-on, and I did it on the same shape of earring, but on the other side of them. And look at that. Aren't those cool? They're so fun. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting these two together to create an earring set so that on the back it's going to be this shiny, shiny. I could have my earring hanging this way, or I could have it hanging this way. Okay, now here's some tips about when you go to take any of your designs that were cut out of the outside of the earring when we did like the snowflake, because you need to remember that you kind of sliced that image into the earring, the shape. So when you go to take it off, it's going to be in some smaller little segments, and I just want you to know how to get it off the mat. So as you can see here, it's just going to cleanly come up off the mat. Yay! As we go to get these off, pull this up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move these off of the mat just because it helps keep it from getting more of the leather backing onto the mat. Go ahead and flip your earring over, and can you guys see where we've got the cutout now? It's better if you push to the back when you go to remove those extra little pieces, kind of like when you're working with a puzzle. You want to be able to do that. So I'm going to push to the back. It helps keep the fibers from pulling forward by just pushing it down as you're taking it out. Instead of pulling it forward, I'm pushing it in. Sometimes, depending upon the shape of your image that you're using, it'll be a little fuzzy from where we've taken it off the mat, and I just use my scissors and trim it up to just kind of give it a little bit of a trim. It also depends upon the leather that you're using, how much of this you're going to see or not see. Then I take my pick tool and I'll poke out the hole where the earrings binding's going to go. Okay, so that'll come right out. But once you have that out, you could go ahead and put your hooks on here. Okay, they still look cute just like this, but let's do something extra to them. Let's dress them up even a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I have some of this Cricut Premium textured metallic vinyl. We saw that you could do the iron-on vinyl and iron it on, but did you know you could use the adhesive vinyl and it works just as good? I'm going to just remove, I've cut the snowflakes out, and we're just going to dress these up with this really pretty textured vinyl. It's going to look so cool, guys. And then I'm going to take a piece of transfer tape. Definitely want your scraper to transfer it onto your transfer tape. And then I'm just going to line this up with the snowflake that's on this, and then burnish that down and peel it up. Look at that. It's so cool. You get that extra little metallic look to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you will give it a try and make your own earrings. Let me know if you have any questions. Please come join us in the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Design Space Facebook group. And if you make an earring, be sure and show me. I really want to see what you made. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel for future tutorials. And as usual, happy crafting.